Okay, we're gonna take a few minutes. If I could have your attention, please. Let me get it. We're going to take a few minutes to say thank you and to point out some of what happened in this space. So thank you to everyone for being here tonight. Welcome. The Darien High School Cafeteria Building Committee is thrilled to be here to celebrate the expansion and renovation of this space. Though some work remains, we are happy to celebrate tonight because the full space is open. The committee consisted of 9 members of the Board of Education and 1 member of the Board of Finance. While we were the organization captaining this effort, it could not have been done without the support of many, many others, including school administration, town hall employees, and our fellow government bodies. As you will recall, and the building committee will be sick of this already, the building committee had 3 goals. Number 1, expand the use from 302 to 420 students per lunch period. We accomplished this through both expanding the space out towards the field from the columns back and taking over what was the faculty lunchroom, and also by doing better space planning within the renovated space. Our goal number 2 was to improve the acoustics and the lighting in the space. Acoustics were managed primarily through the installation of 3 types of acoustical panels, the first being those that you see running along the ceiling, the second, the acoustical panels that line the hallway with that beautiful wave design, and the third are the panels that blend in at the back along that back wall. In addition to maintaining the wall of windows along the exterior wall, attention was paid to the placement of various lighting sources throughout the space. If you look above, you'll see different kinds of lighting on the columns so that we could provide different kinds of lighting for different types of work and also respond to the way that the light changes in the space throughout the day. The third goal was to allow for flexible use of the space. I draw your attention to the various types of seating configurations, from tables of different sizes to banquettes, such as the one over there by the snacks, counter seats, such as that behind Mr. Bush over by Mike Feeney, Mike Lynch, whoever you know in that group, okay, and the lounge area back here. The space was configured and furniture was chosen to enable different types of flexibility, different types of social interaction, so you could sit in a group of 2, so you could sit by yourself, so you could sit with your whole team, although maybe teams are 2 or 10, so we could maximize the seat count. And also so that there could be multiple uses of the space, not just lunch, but also work throughout the day, as well as large events. There is extensive wiring to ensure that those who wish to work in the cafeteria can charge their devices so that we are consistent with the fact that this is a one-to-one environment. We wanted the cafeteria to support that. You can see this particularly clearly along the counters. But if you'd like to go electrical plug hunting, more power to you. We were able to add 2 additional features to the space. The first are the nano wall doors, which, in line with our goal of flexible space, enable the indoor and outdoor spaces to be used together. And secondly, a green roof on top of the expansion, which should both extend the life of the roof and support internal temperature regulation. At the risk of sounding corny with a wave-based metaphor, I will offer that there are times when ocean waves are your friends and times when they deal out a good beating. Well, as all of you know, when we broke ground in April, we found a large, uneven duct bank that looked not like neat, straight lines of utilities, but rather a wave along the shoreline. The duct bank bowed into the space we needed to expand. As a result, despite time pressure and the constraints of working in a functioning school building with a large incoming class, we put the project on hold, worked with the selectmen to increase our scope, and then with all of town government behind us to secure the necessary funding to move the duct bank. That work was completed over the summer. As noted, that work required a lot of hands, so I think now is a good time to say a lot of thank yous. Firstly, thank you to our project team. I'll start with Eric Kyer, Travis Schnell, and Sue Davidson, who isn't here tonight, of KG&D Architects, whose vision got us where we are today. Secondly, thank you to Paul Drummy, our owner's rep of CREC, whose diligence, focus, and construction expertise kept us moving. Thank you to the KSR team, including Steve Krause and Jay Villette, for their dedication to the project and focus on results, despite the delay. Thank you to our school support team, Ellen Dunn and Adam Schoenbart from the high school for their perspective on high school life and their ability to support the school during construction. No easy task, I'm sure. I think there are other high school members out here who also need to be thanked for that, Paul Rivero and Kate Demolis, thank you. I butcher it or not, so thank you. I also thank them for tonight's lovely setup and refreshments. Thank you. Thank you to Jacqueline Samus and Meg Ritchie for their help with the interior design plan. Thank you to Dr. Landon, Mike Feeney, and Mike Lynch for their support and subject matter expertise. Thank you also to Jake Greenwood and Dan Brenner, who are no longer Darien staff, but whose contributions were integral to the project's success. Thank you to our town support team, Jen Charneski for her diligence and her patience as we learned town processes, Kate Bush for her responsiveness whenever we had questions, and Pete Solheim and Bob Bush, whose inspection teams were readily available whenever we needed them so we could ensure that students could get into the cafeteria space. This was really critical so that we could make sure that we could be in here on time. Thank you to Channel 79 for always being there so people in town could follow along and we could review whatever information we needed to see, might need to see again. Thank you to all of the Board of Selectmen for their time answering many questions about building committees, as well as their support as we worked through the process. Additionally, the relationship between the selectmen and the utility companies was anything from helpful to critical to getting the utility lines moved on time. Thank you to our other town bodies, the Board of Finance, the RTM, as well as the Education and F&B committees, and Planning and Zoning, for their part in working expeditiously with us to secure the increased scope, funding, and corresponding approvals. Thank you to the fellow members of the Building Committee, past and present. The work of a building committee is not small. There are regular meetings, each of which requires preparation from every member. Each member brought a different perspective to the table. Thank you to the committee for their flexibility, diligence, creative thinking, and persistence throughout this project. Particular thanks to Michael Harmon for kicking this off, to Tara Achman for her support as vice chair throughout, but particularly during the difficult task of setting up the committee and its work, to Kristen McNamara for her diligence as secretary, to Katie Stein for heading up the interior design subcommittee, to Jim Palin for his help navigating the process, particularly on the town side, to everyone, but particularly Deb Ritchie and Betsy Haggerty-Ross for tracking the numbers, to Duke Deneen for helping carry over the work of the Board of Ed Facilities Committee, to Mike Burke for always checking to ensure we'd have a quorum, which is not a small consideration, and to Dennis Maroney, who could always be relied on for some creative thinking. Lastly, thank you to the families, Brown, Burke, Deneen, Harmon, Ross, Maroney, McCammon, McMahon, McNamara, Palin, Ritchie, and Stein, whose adjustments and sometimes sacrifices ensured we could be where we needed to be to do our part in making this happen. Thank you. And with that, I will pass it over to Jamie for a few words. Oh, sorry, to Ellen. Wrong order. Ellen. Ellen, then Jamie.
Well, Jill did a wonderful job of covering so much of the work that's been done in the room. So from my perspective, I'd like to say thank you on behalf of our students. We often say schools are for children. I think this room describes that beautifully. This space was designed for our students, and that's because of the work of everyone here in the room, with them in mind at every step. The sound difference is extraordinary. The ability for us to use this as a multi-purpose space will be a gift that this community has given to the school for many, many years to come. So we say thank you. The students have been this space has been unveiled over time in the last few months. And it was particularly fun for us when we came back from our holiday break and the wall that was up for much of this year was taken down. They could see the field again. Our ninth graders had never seen the field through this room. And the wave was there, and it really, those final touches were put on the space. They were very excited, and it was fun for us to be down just living in the space with them and seeing their reaction as they came through during those first few days. So we say thank you to everyone for your support and continued support of DHS and our students. Thank you.
And now to Jamie, our first selectwoman.
Thank Thank you, Jill. First and foremost, I want to thank Jill for the incredible job that she has done chairing what ended up being a very complex project. And she was always very, very even-keeled about that when many of us might be flustered. So thank you, Jill, for all of your time and energy that you put in. So many of us have been in this space with our own kids from the time the school was built. And it's a magnificent facility. We are so lucky here in Darien. But almost immediately, we knew that there were a couple of things here in the cafeteria that needed some improvement. And it took a long time till we got here, but God bless those acoustical panels. Very, very well done, thoughtful, and aesthetically beautiful. I see that we have one of our staff over here watching. I know that the space is easy to clean, which is really important because kids are messy. And I think it will stand the test of time, and that's really what you hope for in a project when you invest so much time and money. But this is just the warm-up. So I'm really glad that it was such a great, successful project because we have a big project coming up with the Oxbridge Elementary School. And I think that the successful completion of this is a great way to kick off the work for the Oxbridge Elementary School. So thanks to everybody who participated. It's always a team effort here in Darien, and we really look forward to working with all of you on a beautiful brand new elementary school.
And lastly, Tara Achman, Chair of the Board of Ed.
I'm a little shorter than everybody else. I will echo the thank yous for this. This is a project when Michael Harmon first brought it to the board with Dan Brenner that went through a lot of scrutiny. And with that, I think we have come out with a fantastic final project. And I would echo Mrs. Stevenson's comments that it is the best of what Darien can do when they cooperate to get something done. And our children are the beneficiaries of that. So a big thank you to the RTM and their committees for their questions, to the Board of Finance for hearing the project and understanding when we needed to come back, to the selectmen for giving us a building committee and supporting us all the way through with an effort on an eye on making sure Darien and its students have its best. And then I would be remiss not to really take a moment and thank the Board of Education for pulling double duty on this. So many members gave so much of their time at additional meetings during a very busy time for us. So I thank you for that. For Mrs. Stein for doing the yeoman's work on design, thank you. There are many additional meetings outside of building committee meetings. We appreciate that. But to each and every member who took more time off of work, more time away from their families, so all the Darien families could benefit that come through these schools. I really think this is a project that Darien and all of its governmental bodies can be proud of. It is a bit of a test project because we do have a big project coming for which we are thankful. But if this is the kind of model of working together we can do, I think it just shows the best of our town. So it's not quite ours yet. We will receive it after a final walkthrough and some final little details are, but we are excited for it and we are excited that our children are enjoying it. So thank you again to all of you, and please to your respective bodies, please bring back our thanks and appreciation for all that you did to contribute to this. Thanks.
That, if the members of the committee, the Board of Selectmen want to join me at the ribbon, we can cut it open. It's not that big a ribbon, but we can squeeze. Members of administration are welcome. We'll just have the whole party.
Scissors.
Oh.
You can all step up and cut if you'd like. We cut at the same time.
Do you have lefty scissors?
We'll all cut.
Thank you.
I don't know how many of us can fit at the ribbon, but we'll try.
We're going to have confetti.
Confetti instead of ribbon.
Thank you.
This is the team effort, right? Thank you.
We gotta change the ring. It's starting to crazy.
Do I get to say like ceremonial ribbon?